CAIR, who has advocated for freedom of speech online, has demanded and celebrated the firing of a man for using his free speech online. My guest here today, the man who was unfortunately fired.
Fired.
Today.
So why don't you give me a rundown? What is going on here? What is this whole blow up going on here with CAIR and all this stuff, man? I blink for 5 seconds, go away for a little bit, and you blow up the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just give a abbreviated version. I worked at a place called Community Shelter Board for the last 8.5 years. It's a kind of governing or administrative organization over the homeless system here in Columbus, Ohio. I worked as a data analyst, analyzing trends, preparing reports, stuff like that. No contact with clients, no contact with homeless people, in other words. Had no determination over who was served, how they were served, or anything like that. In the fall, organization got a new employee named Liz. For some reason, and I don't really know why exactly, she decided that she had a massive problem with me, and she filed an HR complaint against me. At the time, the company investigated it. I was told they had a lawyer specializing in discriminations issues look at my content and found nothing to be problematic, and that was that. Or so we thought. Liz ended up leaving the company under a performance cloud. She left the organization, and everyone forgot about her. Well, that was until about mid-March. Get a call from a reporter saying that they are working on a story based on the toxic work environment at CSB, Community Shelter Board, as it related to my YouTube channel. News to me that there was a toxic work environment there, since some people knew about my channel, some people didn't, but no one had ever expressed anything negative about it, right? No one had ever been concerned about it. I got along just fine with all my coworkers, didn't have toxic relations with anyone, other than Liz, who was long gone. And that was all from her end, because I didn't actually say anything mean to her or do anything mean to her while she worked there either. In any case, the reporter said they're doing this story. I talked to the reporter. I talked to HR. We don't know what's going to happen exactly. We're kind of hoping that maybe they won't publish the story, but they do end up publishing it. It turns out to be a smear piece, making false accusations, or at least highly deceptive accusations about the nature of my content. This creates a political storm from elected officials at the city. I was told that the mayor contacted CSB, that county officials also are raising questions. And then the next day, CAIR, the Islamic organization, which is all about free speech, says that an individual who would say such things, which again, I didn't really say, at least not in the way the article implied, cannot be trusted to be employed, basically. And I was put on administrative leave. I was promised a very thorough investigation by a third-party law firm would be conducted. Within 24 hours, I received a call that I had been terminated.
You're fired.
They would not allow me back into the office to pick up my own things. I would not be allowed to say goodbye to anyone. I would not be allowed to provide any explanation to the other people who worked there as to what happened. I just disappeared and no one knew what happened.
Oh, okay.
And of course, word got around. People figured things out. They're not stupid, right? The company issues a statement saying we're aware of comments made on a personal blog, and also issues a statement that Thaddeus is on administrative leave, or not on administrative leave, that he will be unavailable for the foreseeable future. I mean, they kind of figured out the two are probably related. People aren't that stupid. But
They can connect the
right,
dots.
but officially the company didn't say what had happened. I just disappeared, and that was it. I worked there 8.5 years, had positive performance reviews, was praised for the quality of my work. Then even my content on my YouTube channel had been investigated and said it was acceptable. within legal bounds, not a concern. And then it hits the press. People at the government and CAIR are raising questions, and suddenly, well, it's easier to fire Thaddeus than answer these questions, so Thaddeus is fired. So the best thing you can do is share that video. You might think, oh, I don't know anyone. I'm not a social media expert or whatever. Well, I bet you know some family members, right? Have some friends. Yeah, if everyone shares with two people, that triples the impact of the video. And the people who need to see this aren't the people who are already concerned about Islam and are already in our circle. The people who need to see this and understand that this stuff is happening are people who don't normally care about Islam and just think that, there's a Muslim down the street and a Christian next door, and they're basically the same. Who cares? Uh, because that might be true about that individual, but it's certainly not true about the religion of Islam, which mandates that good, faithful Muslims violently subjugate the world until the whole world believes in Islam.